I like the enthusiasm on his part.
For sure.
So this is suspension for a 2022 GasGas MC125. And we've done a couple modifications and upgrades to it. And we'll go over exactly what we did in this video. Starting with the front forks. This bike comes stock with a WP AER 48, aka Exact 48. That is WP's air fork. We changed out the internals. So that means the inner tube stayed the same, but the internals of the fork on both forks got replaced with the JBI Spec WP Exact Pro 6500 kit. So these forks are no longer air. They're now a spring conversion. There's a spring in both fork and there's a damper in both fork. So think of this as WP's version of KYB's SSS fork. We've also done a couple modifications to it as well. That's why we call it the JBI Spec WP Exact Pro 6500 kit. Some of the modifications we did, we changed out the pressure springs that these cartridges come with. We also swapped out the compression post that is inside of it for our JBI Titanium subvalve. It's a different design as the OEM post, as you can see, in different material as well. The subvalve provides additional low-speed compression resistance much better and efficiently than the stock compression post can. For more information, you can go to ridejbi.com. We have a full product page on the subvalve, what it does, how it works, and why we utilize it. There's also a complete product page on ridejbi.com on our JBI Spec WP Exact Pro 6500 cartridges. And that will give you the same information, what it is, how it works, what we do to it, and most importantly, what you should expect as a rider when you get your suspension back. So for the forks, those are the modifications we did in terms of the valving or the performance of the fork, so how it handles. For the aesthetic, the customer wanted to go with our JBI Fauxshima coat on the upper fork tube. This is this really nice gloss, kind of chrome brown color that you can see. When it comes to the rear shock, we did a matching JBI suspension shock revalve. This is a Moto setting. Again, this is for a GasGas MC125, and this rider is competing on a motocross track or doing motocross with it. One of the upgrades we did with it was we changed out the WP nitrogen piston style for our JBI bladder kit. Here's the one installed, and here's our bladder kit disassembled, so you can see what it looks like. To give you a visual on how the two operate, when this is assembled this way, oil is going to push on this piston and is going to compress the gas on this side. And we can see it bounce back up. Now there's going to be some friction and drag associated with the O-ring and seal that this piston makes with this cylinder wall. Whereas a bladder style, the oil is going to envelop the bladder and it's going to squeeze it as the shock compresses and takes up volume. What that does is it removes any stiction or friction associated with moving a piston, because instead this bladder, or very much like a balloon, is just being compressed out of the way. A bladder is what you would find in all of WP's Exact Pro shocks that they offer. They're also stock in all Japanese shocks. So any KYB or Showa shock you'll find on a Honda, Kawasaki, Suzuki, or Yamaha brand. We also went with a softer spring rate for the rider. We went from the 3.9 Newton to a 3.6 Newton. And also to complement the aesthetics of the front forks, the shock body tube was anodized a matching JBI Fauxshima coat on the tube as well. So as good as this suspension looks, it's going to perform equally as well. And that's the most important part. It's going to perform awesome, and the customer also want to spend a couple extra bucks and make it look as good as it's going to work. So I'm excited to get this boxed up and shipped out. This is headed to a friend of ours in Hawaii. They've got some very unique soil and terrain and tracks down that area. We've worked with more than a few riders in Hawaii, so we're familiar with their conditions and kind of the unique settings that they need for that area. And we're excited to get this packaged up and shipped back to them, because I know when they open this up, they're going to be pretty happy with their suspension, with not only how it looks, but how it can perform on the bike. All JBI suspension services and parts can be found at ridejbi.com.